Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Good morning, Jo. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Now, are you in America right now, or are you traveling somewhere?
I'm in America.
You are in America. You are in America. Oh, that's wonderful. So before we get started, I know that your business is very kind of what I call mission-based. Like you really have a purpose, kind of a drive to change the way people kind of live. So tell me about your business and what you're doing with all of that.
So Wild and Free Journeys came about 2 years ago, but it came from a lifelong passion of traveling and exploring the world in a new way. When I say a new way, I like to slow down and ask people to be more curious about where they're going, more connected to the local people, and just to allow themselves time to experience the local culture rather than rush through at 100 miles an hour. And hopefully they come back more connected and having had an amazing experience because they've allowed themselves to look at the world in a slower way.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Actually, my son was actually saying the other day that the perfect vacation is a mix of see the things that everybody, that you want to see, but then go outside the cities and just kind of immerse yourself in how they actually live and how things are different.
Yes, definitely. You hear about people saying, I've been to England, for example, my home country. And then I say, where did you go? And they say, London for 2 days. That's lovely. London is lovely. You need to see some of those things, but it's not England. It's not all of England. You need to see those villages. You need to sit in the country pubs. You need to go and explore the off the beaten track, the little narrow driving down in the country lanes in Devon and Cornwall that terrifies most Americans. But it's all a part of being British and what England or what Britain is about. So wherever you go, your son's totally right. You need to see the sights. There's some sites. If you go to Paris, you have to see the Eiffel Tower. Most people want to see it. But if you step back from the Eiffel Tower and you start exploring the back streets, you'll find amazing views of it through some back alleys. And you'll find where the Parisians go for their coffees and their lunches, rather than being sat with a whole bunch of tourists and not actually having a sense of what it's like to be a Parisian.
Yeah, because I think if you do that, if you go to, like you said, the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben or different places, and you stay within the tourist zone, it's really like you took a group of like Americans and put it over there, and you don't really have a sense of
Exactly.
Difference. Yeah, exactly. One of our favorite things, we just got back from London not too long ago, as you know, because you gave us some fabulous recommendations. But one of my favorite parts was a tea house, actually in the back of a antique store in this little town on our way out to see Rye. It was the best meal we had. It was the best atmosphere we had, and it was quiet and slow, and the only people there were like locals. It was
quintessentially British.
Yes, it was great.
No, those places are the best, and you find the local people, and even if you don't speak the language, if you're overseas in a place where they don't speak English, it's still possible to have conversations with people where you barely understand a word you're saying, because you're gesticulating and your facial expressions tell them things, and you just laugh and they point at things, and then they find someone to translate a couple of sentences for you. And we can always use Google Translate these days, which makes it so much easier. But it's amazing what you get to see when you just take a step backwards.
And slow.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Which we are not
slowing
all
down
great
is
at.
the key. It's like, don't try to see 5 countries in 5 days. It's just exhausting, and you're really not seeing anything.
Yeah. And when you say I have to take a vacation from my vacation, you did your vacation wrong.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
that's the whole kind of coming back exhausted is definitely not what you're trying to achieve.
right, exactly. And you said you get better connected with the culture, but you also get better connected with whoever you're traveling with. And if that's yourself, you also get better connected with yourself.
You definitely can. Yes.
Yeah.
And when life is so busy, when we do allow ourselves to slow down, those are the moments that we're getting all of the good stuff. We're like, as you say, we're reconnecting back to ourselves. We're connecting with the locals and yes, with the people we're traveling with. I
Yeah.
had the best conversations with my teenage daughter last year. We traveled for 4 months on and off, or mostly together. We had a couple of weeks apart. But the conversations we had were just amazing. We can't redo those. And here we don't have time for that to happen. We'll be chatting and then one or other of us is running off doing something else. And there are meetings and work and things going on. But when you're actually traveling, and as you probably found when you were traveling with your family, you have time to actually have those deeper conversations. And you suddenly, Imogen and I would go somewhere last year, and I'd suddenly realize that she really likes a particular thing that I didn't know. She actually found a massive joy for shopping, unfortunately, when we were away last year. So that's not such a good thing, but it was fun to watch her kind of finding all these new things and exploring.
Yeah. That's really great. No, that's wonderful. How do you think that social media influencers, travel influencers, just our digital lifestyle as an extension of our arms has affected travel?
Oh, it's changed travel enormously, and not necessarily for the better. There are places in the world now, and I have so many stories on this, where influencers have gone in, they post the exact coordinates because their whole business is based around them giving people new things to go and see. And now those places are flooded with people. And it could be if you walk down this back alley, you'll suddenly see an amazing view over Porto. And it's a teeny tiny back alley. And now there are queues of people trying to go down that tiny alley because an influencer told them this is the best view. There may be many other alleys with similar views, but people want to go down that view. So the good side of social media, of course, is that it's opened us up to lots more places in the world. But on the bad side, it has impacted the way we travel. And those hidden gems, the local places that the locals would take you to once you met the locals, now, if they've had influencers come through, some of those places are now just so full of people, they've lost their impact, really. So it's a bit of a struggle, the social media thing.
Yeah, it is a struggle. It's kind of a love-hate relationship as far as that's concerned. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. So you decided you were a travel agent. I know that you curate travel experiences primarily for women in small groups, but
Yeah.
why did you decide to go that direction in your travel industry?
I think because of the experiences I had when I traveled. I traveled for 10 years in my 30s, pretty much my whole of my 30s, and I traveled slowly. And obviously you can't travel as slowly as I was traveling. But what I realized was, although there are tours for women or tours for couples, tours for all sorts of people, most of them are not really considering the fact that they're just trying to cram everything into 10 days, say. And while I'm appreciative of the fact that people want to see certain things, the way I take my groups is that we have time to sit at a coffee shop and just watch life go by for an hour. Or if we have lunch, it's not a fixed 12 till 1. We're having lunch at 12. We're flexible up to a point, obviously, as to where we finish lunch. And if you want an hour less shopping, but you want to see you're enjoying sitting having lunch, and we can do that. So there's flexibility around how quickly we do things. And I think that's important because going back to that whole slow down, if you're whizzing through, then I'm doing the wrong job.
Yeah, you were telling me a story the other day when we were chatting of some tour groups, they follow the flag. And unfortunately, some of those people in those tour groups, they see the red flag that they're following more than they see what they went there to see.
Yes, you see big groups of people literally, or they're looking at the back of the person in front of them because they're so concerned that they're going to lose their group.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because then if they just stopped, even just stood still in that square, for instance, for 2 minutes, they would just see so many things happening. They would see little groups of families. They would see people jumping in fountains. They'd see tourists taking photos, but they'd see things rather than not see anything and just whiz through and catch a glimpse of Buckingham Palace as they run past.
As they run past. Yeah, exactly. So your tours are intentionally curated to have time and flexibility and not see 10 things in one day.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's great.
Let me introduce you to the Speaker League, where great leaders are made. It's a community built around world-class speakers, real training, and the kind of opportunities that put you in front of a room and dare you to own it. Everything you need to go from good to unforgettable. Train, speak, win. The stage is yours. Your voice, your moment, your stage. Join now at thespeakerleague.com.
What kinds of places do you go with your tour groups?
All over the world. This year we're going to Malta and Sicily and Morocco. Next year will be Iceland, Scotland, and probably the Amalfi Coast, but the Amalfi Coast that most people don't go to.
Ah, okay.
So, some of the spots that are exactly like the very touristy villages, but not touristy.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. We went to the Amalfi.
Gems in that one.
Yeah, we went to, we stayed in Portofino on the Amalfi Coast 2 years ago, I think it was. It's beautiful, but it has a lot of people there.
Yes.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of people there. So in your business, because you are solo business owner, how has networking played a part in the growth of your business?
It has a really big part in the growth of my business. I love finding the right networking groups. And once you find one and you find your community and they get to know you, I think it's just a brilliant way to get the message of my business across. So for instance, your networking group that I absolutely love, people there, I know some of their businesses reasonably well, but if I meet other people and someone says, I need a coach for this, or I need an accountant, or I need this, I can hold hand on heart say, go to these people because I've built a relationship with them. And likewise, if someone says to them, a friend of mine really wants to go on a trip, but she doesn't want to be in a big group, then they can say, Joe's the person you need to speak to with authority, without kind of, and I think it's for me, it's one of the most important things to have in my diary of my networking groups and meeting up with people and building those relationships within those groups.
Yeah, and for those of you that are not familiar with the word diary, it means her calendar. Yes, have those times definitely scheduled onto your calendar. That's wonderful. So when you go to like an event, say you go to a networking event, whether it's a social or it's, an event with a speaker or it's a mastermind, what's your intention as you walk in the room? Like, what are you going there for? Quality, quantity, kind of tell us about that.
Definitely quality. I'm looking to learn more about the people there, find out what they're doing, what's their interesting thing that's happening in their world. Finding ways, I love connecting people. So if I chat to one person and I have a friend that's totally nothing to do with networking maybe, but I know that they're looking for something along the lines of what that person does, I like to make those introductions. But I always like to ask a question that isn't what do you do? Everybody asks you, what do you do? So I like to say to them, what are you doing that's interesting this week? What's happening with your business right now? And that way I generally find something that they say that will spark an idea in my head. It's like someone I know might help them with that, or someone might be a good fix for them. So it's just kind of building on those connections.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's exactly how I approach it as well, is building those relationships. So, okay, so you've met some people and you said you love to give introductions, whether it's to someone else in the room, another networking friend, or someone that just needs a service. What is your kind of go-to way to actually make that introduction?
I will normally try and contact them. So if I have a friend outside of networking and someone in networking that I think is a good fit, I'll generally set up a three-way chat to start with and say, hey, Ellen, this is Fred, and Fred does this, and I think you two would be a great fit, and then I can drop out of the conversation.
Yeah, that's great. I love it when you tell them why. Why are you connecting them? I can't stand it when somebody just like connects me on LinkedIn and says, you two need to know each other. Well,
Yes.
why? Like,
It's like,
why?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the
kind of
impetus?
awkward if you say, this is, if I said to someone, this is Melissa. Melissa is a speaking coach and she runs Network Build Grow and she's connected with this, this, and this. And Melissa, this is Ellen. She does this, or she's looking for this. Then you don't feel awkward talking to each other. But like you say, if someone just says, hey, you two should connect, you're left sitting there kind of going, hi,
Yeah.
why am I connecting to you?
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, Jo thought we should connect. Why do you think she thought we should connect? What do you do? Like, it's just, it becomes very
Yes,
awkward.
you have to kind of do your own fishing and kind of like, why is she
Yeah.
connecting us?
Yeah,
Yes,
and sometimes I can't figure it out.
I know.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm not really sure how this is a good fit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so funny. So you do a lot of networking, you do a lot of relationship building, you like to make introductions. How do you keep track of all of that?
Well, no, actually, that's where I probably need the most help. I have a diary and scroll lots and lots and lots of notes. That's my thing. I write everything down.
Write everything down. So you've got the notebooks and the sticky notes and all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recently met someone within Network Build Grow who was like, how do we keep all those notes together? So yes, she might be on my list of people I need to see.
I think that's Julie. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What do you think is a common mistake that people make when they network?
I think they forget to ask other people questions, and I think they don't listen to the answers in full detail. I think a lot of people go into networking thinking it's all about me telling you what I do. And I think more of it is about asking other people, what do they do? What can I do to help you? And slowly building that relationship and the trust, and then going from there. So going into a networking meeting, expecting immediate results, expecting people to be flooding you with ideas and people that might want to, for instance, for me, if I never hadn't been to a networking group before and went in and said, hey, come on my tour. Why would you come on my tour? You don't know me. So build those relationships, have some one-to-one meetings with people outside of the networking room, and just start to create the contacts.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, so let's get back a little bit to your business because I find it fascinating what you do, and I think it's interesting how you're going about, setting up those tours. But when you look at your business and you look at like 5 years down the road, like where do you see that? Like what's kind of that legacy thing that you're trying to build?
I would like people to come back from my trips and talk about how the trip changed them, how they had time to reconnect to themselves, the experiences they've had with other people, the experiences they've had just sitting, watching life go by, how they now understand a Moroccan tea ceremony, how they understand the whole culture of a British pub, how they could learn a few words of French and speak to the little old lady sitting outside a shop in those back streets behind the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, let's get to the rapid fire networking portion. And I'm going to ask you some questions and just first thing that pops into your mind. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. What is the first thing you do to follow up with someone that you meet in a networking group?
Reach back out to them and set up a one-to-one meeting.
So you do one-to-one meetings. What do you try to discuss in the one-to-ones?
I like to get to know more about what their business entails and what I could possibly do to help their business with connections, and also to give them a chance to find out more about what I do and how my tours work and why I'm different. Okay,
great. Wonderful. Okay, next one. We already answered that one, the quality or quantity. You definitely go for quality, but what's one way that you add value to the networking group without expecting anything in return?
I like to help out where I can, if at all possible, and just kind of look out for people that are on the edges of conversations. If there's someone on their own and there are lots of little groups chatting away to each other, go speak to that person that's on their own.
I'll tell you, as someone who runs networking events, I love you, because it's very difficult as the person who's running the event to be able to get around and try to integrate everybody into conversations. So you see those people kind of on the fringes, and it's wonderful to have members like you that bring people into those conversations. So thank you for doing that. All right, one more thing and I'll let you go. What is one piece of advice you would give someone who is brand new to networking? Maybe never been to an event or is just now only gone to a few. What's a really good piece of advice that you could give them?
Definitely listen to people, ask them a question, but an interesting question, not just what do you do, or maybe what do you do followed by what is the most interesting thing that's happening around your business this month, and then book some one-to-one calls and just get to know people a little bit better.
And keep track of it. Take good notes. Take good notes. Yes. Well, thanks for being with me this morning. It has been great to talk to you.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.